Hello, today I'm going to do Aquarius Ascendant. I do sidereal zodiac, so it might be that you thought that you were a Pisces Ascendant in the tropical zodiac and actually you didn't resonate with it, so maybe this is for you. Okay, so Aquarius. Aquarius is a fixed sign and it is the 11th sign of the natural zodiac. It's ruled by Saturn, co-ruled by Rahu, the north node of the moon, and it's also, as I said, it's a fixed sign and it's an air sign, so it's a sign that likes to communicate. And 11th house is all about big groups, networks, friends, big groups of friends, so basically, being a fixed sign just means that they are quite determined, quite fixed in their ideas, so it's quite difficult for them to change their mind or change their ways. So basically, with an Aquarius person, it just means that Saturn rules their first house of self and 12th house of expenditure and faraway lands, meditation, yoga, things like that. So it could just be that this person find themselves when they travel far away or when they're in meditation, they have time away. They need time away from the world to actually regenerate, re-energize. And they could also be always thinking in the past as well, because obviously that's what 12th house is. They do something and they'll be pondering about it as well, and they're always reflecting on things to do with the past. Then we have their second house, and their 11th house is ruled by Jupiter. Second house Pisces, 11th house Sagittarius. So it's a money making sort of planet for them. Jupiter is, because 11th house is also a house of great gains, and second house is the money that you have in your bank account. So they could have massive gains because obviously Jupiter also expands everything as well. So yeah, they could really be onto serious money if Jupiter is well placed. And also Saturn, because obviously 12th house is expenditure. So if Saturn is badly placed, no matter how much they have, they will be spending and losing that money. Then, but it's also, second house is family as well, early years and self-value. So they could come from an emotional family. It's quite sweet, really, because Pisces is such a cute sign, and they could have a really warm and mushy sort of family, brought up sort of in a creative environment, quite spiritual family, because also 11th house as well, which is ruled, they're both got to do with spirituality or religion, and they probably have got good, if Jupiter is well placed, good sense of self and self-value as well. Then third house and the 10th house are ruled by Mars. Third house is not a great house as far as Vedic astrology goes. So their communication can be quite direct. They could get themselves into trouble with communication. Their communication with siblings can be quite harsh. It means that Mars and Saturn are not really very close. They're, as planets go, they don't get on very well. They're enemies to each other. And they could also create enemies through their words, really, the way they communicate, because the communication could be very direct, due to Aries being their third house. They probably just communicate very much like "see you then," it's just like how texts can be read, so they're quite cold, aren't they? So they could be a little bit like that. 10th house of Scorpio being their being their sort of house of career, it just means that they could be in research, they could be scientists, they could be mediators, they could do something to do with communication, computers, because also Aquarius itself is sign of technology, so they could work with technology. They could have a secret job, work behind the scenes, because obviously Scorpio, their 10th house is a secretive house. And they could do quite well at work, because obviously 10th house is a house that Mars is very comfortable with. Then we have 4th house and 9th house are ruled by Venus. Venus is a really good planet for them. So they could live in a beautiful home, because Taurus being their 4th house ruled by Venus, beautiful, comfortable home, luxurious. They could have a mum who bakes and cooks and is into interior design, who has got a lovely car. You know, they just literally an artistic family, artistic home life. They could have very, very nice. So yeah, loads of home cooking. You can just imagine those lovely sort of warm quilts, rugs and things like that. Loads of cushions around, candles, possibly, because obviously second house being second house of families, Jupiter as well, is quite spiritual as well. It's very homely placement for the 4th house, because obviously Venus likes the 4th house. It's a comfortable place for Venus as well. So it could be a place that all your friends hang out in. You know, they like being at yours because the food is good, mummy's quite welcoming. It's a welcoming family. And the 9th house being Libra, the father, you know, the father could be very diplomatic, could be a judge, could be a lawyer, could be in the media. Yeah, so the father could be very very lovely, balanced, very balanced family, really. Mum and dad could both be like in the arts, directors, producers, actors, you know, that kind of thing. They could just have really good jobs and be quite worldly and fun family to be around, artistic. 5th house is Gemini, so Gemini is also their 8th house, so they could have some losses to do with children, or they could be quite artistic. They could write some sort of like spy thrillers. They could be authors, because 5th house is a really good house, but they could lose also through investments and have losses through children as well. 5th house and 8th house being both ruled by Gemini. And then we have their 6th house is Cancer. So they could have some female enemies, or they can have disorders to do with the moon. They could actually retain water quite a lot, have circulatory issues. Females could have like quite bad menstrual cycle. And just generally, you know, they could just have cousins who are really emotional, things like that. So actually, emotions, they need to have an outlet for emotions, because that could make them poorly, not expressing themselves. 7th house of partner is Leo, so their partner could be quite regal, quite noble, quite stubborn like themselves, because both signs are fixed. So it would be quite, you know, they're quite status-driven signs, aren't they, both? So, you know, Aquarius, natural 11th sign, wants to be around people, networks, and Leo actually demands attention. So they could literally be movers and shakers as far as the couples go. So they could get married because of the status thing as well, you know, because it would be good for their career, it would be good public image or something like that as well. I'm not saying in every case, but you know, this is just general. Then I think that concludes all of their signs. So it's very scientific, technologically minded house. They could be very much like the family will be really lovely and warm and cozy. So yeah, lovely placement. So see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.